That's an angry fish. Oh. The big one. Welcome back to the Koi channel. This video has been a very long time coming. So I'm going to give you the backstory while I get out my new biggest fish. So a couple of years ago, Carl Smith came to see my pond. I'm pretty sure most of you will know who Carl is. And while he was feeding my big chagoi, which was about 93 centimetres at the time, both being carp anglers, we started trying to guess its weight. And then Carl said something to me which planted a seed. He said, wouldn't it be amazing to try and grow a 40-pound carp in a koi pond? And as soon as he said it, I knew one day I would have to give it a crack. But if I was going to do it, I was going to do it properly, which didn't mean wedging in a few carp amongst the koi, because they were going to need a lot of room and a lot of snap. So instead, I made myself a promise that if ever I was lucky enough to have a little lad, I would sell all of the koi, and me and my little lad would start a brand new father and son project to try and grow a 40-pound carp in a koi pond. And then last year, I was in the hospital with my little lad who had just been born, and up popped a video from a guy called Ollie at the Carp collection of his pond stocked exclusively with his homebred proper English carp, and I just thought, now's the time. So I dropped Ollie a message to see if he could sort me out with some little C2s, and he actually turned out to be a subscriber and said, I've got some absolutely awesome C2s and I would love to become part of your journey. So that was that. Those that follow this channel will know I've sold all of the koi to make way for this project. I've installed the biggest pond filter that the missus would let me fit in the garden, which is now absolutely rocking. And tonight I've just finished prepping this water, ready for these fish going in tomorrow. So even if you are a hardcore koi enthusiast and you're not exactly into carp, I can assure you there is going to be plenty in this project for you. And I'm going to use exactly the same techniques that I use to grow big koi to try and grow big carp. And in this video, I'll run you through the temperatures that I'm going to hold year round, the feeding schedule, and the food that we're going to feed, which might actually surprise you. And before anyone feels the need to run off to the comments section to tell me I need to change the channel name to the Carp channel, don't worry, there is still plenty of koi content to come on this channel. In fact, my next video is Kev's koi pond visit, where we get out his absolutely massive Makashiogon, and that is definitely a video you will not want to miss. So this is the last fish going in the pond. The others, I thought I'll just get in there quick because they've had a very long drive up from London. But this is a proper special carp. Let me show you this. That's the sort of fish that Ollie produces. These are proper fish. And that is very special. So that is where I'm at. So I'm going to leave this video here for now and pick it up in a few days when these fish have settled in and looking their best again, because when I was getting them out of the pond, they were jet black. When they've got back after like 4 hours of driving, they don't look nearly as good, and I want to show them you like properly at their best. Right, pick this up in a couple of weeks. Absolutely mint. Well, good morning. These fish have all settled in really well now. They're just having a little bit of breakfast. So let me talk you through them. So the plan was to only go and fetch 6 little ones, but when we got going through them, I ended up coming back with 7, because as you can see, they are absolutely mint. This one's called the chunk because it's a greedy little chunk. In fact, because of that fish and the dumpy one, I've had to make a slight change to my feeding plan. I'll talk you through that in a minute. But yeah, so there's 7 little ones for me and my little lad to grow. And I think you would agree, these are really special little fish. Like the 1% club is what I would call it. I mean, look at that. They've almost got like a little bit of ginrin. Those that know koi would know what ginrin is. But yeah, mega. There's 2 zip linears, and me and Ollie have had a special deal. So what we're going to do is Ollie has given them both to me to grow on. Then at the end of next season, Ollie's going to come up, I'm going to fire up the barbecue, and we're going to get them both out, and I get to keep whichever one I want, and Ollie gets the other one back for giving me the fish that I wanted, and he basically is getting a much bigger fish back because his pond isn't heated. The big dumpy one, she's a fish that I kept looking at through the window thinking that is going to get huge. And it's got a real deep body shape, but without being fat. And one thing I want to stress, I've zero interest in just having a pond full of big fat swimming pigs. Not at all. I want properly big carp. And that's the goal. That's why my feeding strategy is based around growth rather than just weight. Like, there's other people that are growing carp in ponds to grow big heavy fish for people to go and catch, and that suits what they're doing and their purpose of that pond. That's not my goal here. My goal is to grow some real nice pretty fish, and I'm not knocking what anybody else is doing. I don't want that to get confused. I just want some nice pretty big fish for this pond. So this one here, this is one of the fish that Ollie was moving on, which I gladly accepted as a very nice pond filler. There's the wood carving. I'll show you that when it comes back across. It's quite a lean fish, that one. It's a bit different. Oh, it's under the trees. Let me show you these trees, by the way. Look at these trees now. Looking ace. It's so good to come and see the fish coming in and out of these trees. That's the wood carving. So, I'm going to talk you through my feeding strategy while casually getting some nice video of some very nice fish. So, I was feeding 6 times a day, quite big heavy feeds, but the problem that I'm starting to find with that is that they all come up, have a quick scran, and then most of them disappear off for a chew, apart from the little chunk and dumpy. So if I was to continue doing what I'm doing, eventually they are going to get really fat. So what I've done, I've changed it to 11 feeds a day. So 10 from the feeder, 1 from me and my little lad of an evening. And it starts at 6 in the morning and it stops at 9 at night. So they get fed every hour and a half. And I'm hoping that by doing that, just slightly reducing the amount of feed at each feed and it being more spread, I'm hoping that initial burst, the amount that they all feed is a little bit more leveled out. So yeah, the food I'm feeding, and you might think I'm crazy, Saki Akari balance with a bit of a coating on that I can't tell you too much about just yet. Saki Akari balance in the feeder, all sinking, so everything that comes out of that feeder is sinking, and then the hand feed, same food, Saki Akari balance. Water temperatures wise, I'm up at 24, and then towards the end of the season, probably at the end of September, I'll start to drop until maybe I'll just drop like by 0.3 a day, 0.2 a day, just so the fish don't know what's going on. Before they know it, they're down to 18. And I'm going to hold 18 Celsius all the way through winter. There's a couple of reasons I'm going to do that. One is I know I'll enter next season, the filter will be absolutely rocking. I won't be like restarting the pond again. These little ones, if I have put too much weight on them, at that temperature, I can lean them out a bit. If I've not put enough on them, I can put some bulk on them really easy at 18. This fish has bumped a scale. Something that's mad about these carp. So if they bump a scale, you have a little cry, and then about 3 days later, you can't even see where it's been. Like with a koi, if you knock a scale out, some fish, the fish would be ruined. Whereas with these, when I first put them in, one had knocked a few scales out. Messaged Ollie and says, don't worry, he says, another week's time, you won't even know that that's happened. He was like, they're properly hardy and just seem to repair really quick. But yeah, let me tell you actually, so the first week they'd gone in, we had torrential rain, and my pump controller, where it's located, managed to get really wet and died. So I came home from work one night and the pond was in an absolute state. It just resembled a swamp. The pump had been off all day, which is the pump that pulls from the drum and then up to the biochamber, so the base had no filtration all day. And luckily I keep one on the shelf at all times as a spare. Swapped it over, and within an hour the pond was looking honky-dory again, and the fish were just completely unfazed. It was weird. Like normally with koi, everyone who's got koi will know, there'd be stuff. Whereas with these, they're just completely unfazed. And then literally the very next day, I'm just gonna get some sinking food. Have the lot. New toy. I wanted to show you some of these fish under the water so you can really appreciate them. If the water looks a bit tragic, that's because I've just chucked a whole cup of food in the pond. So yeah, as I was saying, we'd had that disaster with the pump controller dying on me, and then the very next morning I gets up and we'd had a power cut, and it actually turned out that the water had leaked through my roof and then down through the conduit into the electric box that supplies the pond. And I opened it up and the water literally poured out of it. It was completely full. So I spent half of the day drying it out, changing the wires in there and getting the pond back on with literally just an air pump, just bubbling away, keeping the fish happy enough. But yeah, as soon as the filters were back on, they were just completely unfazed. Show you the wood carving. God, I've trashed the water this morning, but I'm sure the filter will soon catch up. In fact, yeah, a few people have asked me about the filter. So I've obviously installed a big new biochamber for this project. And so far, it's working really well. Every time I increase the amount of food going in, the first thing I do is check my water readings, and the ammonia and nitrite have both been really good. A few people did say to me when I removed the shower, oh, you'll start getting high nitrite readings, but I definitely haven't. And I do think that is part down to how much oxygen I put through that K1 media. The up pipe still works a treat. In fact, I would say the up pipe works better now than it did when I had the shower. And for those that don't know what an up pipe does, essentially when you normally see froth and scum on ponds, that's what the up pipe does. It ejects that out of the water. So make sure you're subscribed, because at the end of this season I'm going to get out some of these smaller fish and give them a measure and a weigh to see where we're at. I'll probably get Big Dumpy out because I think that'll be the heaviest fish in the pond. And then probably the end of next season I'll do the same and see what they've gained in 1 year. So if you would like some carp for your pond, be sure to check out the Carp collection. And if you would like to see a massive Macassiogon, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because my very next video is Kev's Koi Pond, and that fish is huge. Right, see you at the Koi Show.